Some of you may remember the last Chrysler Group rear-wheel drive sedans from over 15 years ago. With the availability of electronic systems to control wheel slip and directional stability, rear-wheel drive design is back in the form of the Chrysler 300 and Dodge Magnum models. Welcome to this month's program, in which we're going to explore the features of these new models. Before we get started under hood, here's a rundown of the Chrysler and Dodge models built on the LX platform. On the Chrysler side are the Chrysler 300, 300 Touring Edition, 300 Limited, and 300C, which are all rear-wheel drive sedans. Chrysler International versions will use both the Chrysler and Dodge Magnum body styles. On the Dodge side are the Dodge Magnum SE, SXT, and RT. The SE is available in rear-wheel drive only, and the SXT and RT are available in rear-wheel drive and later in the model year in all-wheel drive. The engines used in the LX models include two V6s and a V8. The 2.7-liter dual overhead cam V6 and 3.5-liter single overhead cam V6 are similar to engines used previously. However, as always, be sure to consult the service information since there are a number of differences. One of these differences is a new rear seal and seal retainer assembly on 3.5-liter engines, which includes a special tool for installation. For proper seal alignment, be sure to leave the special tool in place until after the seal and retainer have been installed. Engine oil fill specifications are also different on the V6s, so be sure to consult the owner's manual for the correct type and amount. To access the drain plug and other components on the bottom of the engine, you're going to need to remove a panel referred to as the belly pan. It attaches with 4 screws. The belly pan and the other panels under the engine are there to enhance fuel economy and direct airflow where it's needed. They are not simply cosmetic, so you do need to reinstall them in the correct order. The 5.7-liter Hemi V8 in LX models is similar to those in the Dodge Ram and Durango. However, the use of a multiple displacement system, or MDS, in the LX versions results in differences in engine components and operation. MDS allows the LX Hemi to use 8 cylinders for conditions which require it, such as hard acceleration, and to switch to 4 cylinders for other conditions, such as maintaining a steady speed. A number of components have been added or modified to provide MDS. The MDS engine uses 8 conventional and 8 MDS lifters. The cam lobes which the MDS lifters ride on are also different from those used with the conventional lifters. Operating the MDS lifters are 4 solenoid control valves, which are, in turn, controlled by the powertrain control module. The PCM uses a number of inputs to decide when to initiate operation. However, the oil temperature sensor has been added specifically for the multiple displacement system. In general, vehicle speed, engine RPM, engine torque requirements, and oil temperature are inputs the PCM uses when implementing MDS. The StarScan scan tool is essential for diagnosing and servicing the multiple displacement system. With it, you'll be able to monitor system operation and read any diagnostic trouble codes recorded by the PCM. Just as with the V6s, it's important to use the correct type and amount of oil in the 5.7-liter engine. So be sure to check the owner's manual for specifications. In the area of accessory drives, all of the engines use a single belt system, and belts have a 100,000-mile service interval. If you do need to perform belt service, keep in mind that there is no belt routing label under hood, and you'll need to refer to the service information to make sure a belt is routed correctly. On LX models, the NGC3 engine controller handles powertrain functions, including electronic throttle control. It's located on the right side of the engine compartment near the bulkhead. On vehicles with a 4-speed automatic transmission, the NGC3 also handles transmission functions. On LX models with a 5-speed automatic transmission, a separate module located in the lower part of the instrument panel on the driver's side controls transmission functions. Cooling modules are another area where you'll notice changes under hood. The AC condenser and transmission oil cooler have been combined into one assembly, which is serviced by removing the front fascia. You'll need a new special tool, number 8875A, to release the quick connect fittings on the transmission oil cooler. Engine compartment electrical components include an integrated power module, which combines the front control module and one of the power distribution centers. Along with controlling various electrical circuits, the FCM also contains the central gateway for the CAN bus communication system. One thing you won't find in the engine compartment is the battery. It's located in the rear of the vehicles along with the other power distribution center, which contains the IOD fuse. Remote positive and negative terminals in the engine compartment allow you to jump start or power up vehicle. HVAC system particulate filter is also located in the engine compartment on the right side near the bulkhead. An arrow on the filter indicates the correct orientation. Installing the filter improperly will result in the need for premature replacement. The fuel delivery system also has some features worth noting. We'll take a look at it next when we go under the LX models to see what's new there. Like the Pacifica, the fuel tanks on LX models use a saddle-type design to accommodate a drive shaft. Fuel pump modules on the right and left sides of the tank manage fuel delivery and regulate fuel pressure. To remove the module retaining rings, you'll need to use special tool 9340. Make sure the fuel level is below 1/2 before removing the rings. To check the integrity of the evaporative emission system, LX models use natural vacuum leak detection. The NVLD canister and filter assembly is located behind the right rear wheel splash shield. Behind the engines on LX models, you'll find a 4-speed or 5-speed automatic transmission. The 42 RLE 4-speed, which you've probably seen in other applications, is used behind 2.7-liter engines and with 3.5-liter engines in rear-wheel drive applications. The 5-speed transmission carries the designation MAG1, and you may have seen it in Sprinter and Crossfire. It's used behind 3.5-liter engines in all-wheel drive applications and behind all 5.7-liter engines. Be sure to watch the April Mastertech. We'll be covering the MAG1 in detail in that program. Like other Chrysler Group automatic transmissions, both the 42 RLE and the MAG1 use ATF +4 fluid. However, these transmissions no longer include dipsticks for customer use. So to check the fluid level, technicians will need to remove the cap and use Essential Special Tool 9336. Another difference concerns shifting the 42 RLE and MAG1 transmissions out of park when the battery is discharged or disconnected. To do that, you'll need to use an override device near the shifter. The access hole for the device is located under a mat in the cubby bin. With the ignition key in any position except lock, push in on the blocker while moving the shift lever out of park. At this point, let's move down the driveline for a look at some other features worth noting. All LX models use a 2-piece drive shaft behind the transmissions. The front and rear sections and the U-joint in the middle are serviced as an assembly. The rubber couplings on the ends can be serviced separately. Our rear differential and half shafts deliver power to the rear wheels. All of the differentials are filled with 75 W140 synthetic gear and axle lubricant. You'll need to lower the differential to service the half shafts. Since they're different lengths, the left and right half shafts are not interchangeable. The suspension on the LX models is quite a bit different than their front-wheel drive predecessors. The front suspension uses a short and long arm design. The lower control arm and tension strut connect to the steering knuckle via separate ball joints. The coil and shock assembly attaches to the lower control arm by means of a clevis. Other front suspension features include a stabilizer bar and a steel knuckle with an integral spindle. On the front suspension, camber and caster can be adjusted by shifting the cradle or by means of adjustment bolts provided in a kit. Be sure to see the service information for the correct procedures. If you've seen the rear suspension on Chrysler Pacifica models, then the rear suspension on LX models will look familiar to you. They use a similar 5-link design. A trailer towing package, which includes load-leveling shock absorbers and different springs, will be available later in the year. Customers who intend to tow trailers may need this package to prevent excessive changes in driveline angles. Refer to the owner's manual for tow ratings and requirements. The steering system on LX models uses an all-new rack and pinion steering gear. The gear can be removed from under the vehicle. The power steering system uses ATF +4 fluid. There are 2 hydraulic brake systems on LX models. Models with 17-inch wheels use single-piston front and rear calipers, while those with 18-inch wheels use dual-piston front calipers and single-piston rears. Rotor sizes also differ between the 2 systems, and LX models with 18-inch wheels use a ventilated rear rotor, whereas the rear rotors used with 17-inch wheels is solid. An on-vehicle brake lathe is the preferred method of turning rotors. One feature of the hydraulic brake system you need to be aware of involves brake line routing in the front. Because lines are routed along the upper radiator support, they can trap any air that is allowed to enter the hydraulic brake circuits. LX models use 2 different master cylinder booster assemblies. The master cylinder and booster used with vehicles equipped with electronic stability program include additional components. Standard on LX models with a 3.5-liter or 5.7-liter engine is Tevis Mark 25, a system that offers anti-lock braking, traction control, and electronic stability control. The anti-lock brake module, or ABM, and hydraulic control unit are located in the right front corner of the engine compartment. Magnetic encoders in the wheel bearings on non-drive wheels and on half shafts work with magnetic resistive wheel speed sensors to provide the ABM with wheel speed information. For directional stability, LX models rely on the electronic stability program, similar to the system used on Chrysler Crossfire. It's active all the time, and it uses a variety of inputs and outputs to keep the vehicle on its intended course. For example, consider a vehicle that is experiencing understeer that causes it to travel outside of its intended path. In this case, ESP could apply the right rear brake to pivot the vehicle back into its intended path. Be sure to watch the March Mastertech for more information about how the Mark 25 system operates and how to service it. Well, those are some of the more noteworthy features under the vehicle. Next up, body and exterior features. Let's begin our look at exterior and body features with some front-end items you need to know about. First, the front bumper beam is spot welded at the factory as part of the assembly process. To remove the bumper beam, you'll need to break the spot welds. The replacement beam does not need to be welded. The headlamp mounting cross member serves as a structural member and attaching point for many front-end components. The front headlamps on LX models are contained in a module with the parking lamps and turn signals. The module attaches to the crossmember we just looked at. Depending on the model, the side marker lamps can be in headlamp modules or in the bumper fascia. The vertical adjustment screws are located at the top of the modules. Bulbs for the headlamps, parking lamps, and turn signals can be serviced without removing the modules. However, on the left side, you do need to remove and reposition some components to gain access. On the other hand, to replace a side marker lamp located in a headlamp module, you'll need to remove the module, and that involves partial fascia removal. A rain-sensing wiper system is available on 300C models. The wiper control module detects rain through changes in light refraction, and system inputs also allow the module to adjust for day and night operation. The rain sensor and module are located below the rear view mirror. The wiper control module does not activate the wipers directly, but instead sends a bus message to the front control module. The park assist system is also optional on 300C models. The system uses 4 ultrasonic sensors located in the rear fascia. They are inputs to the Park Assist module, located on the right side of the trunk. The module controls a warning display on the rear area of the headliner. Yellow and red LEDs and tones warn the driver of the proximity of objects behind the vehicle. Sunroofs are nothing new on Chrysler Group vehicles. However, the one on LX models does have a new feature we need to cover. Express Open and Close allows customers to press and release the control button to open or close the sunroof. The control module will reverse the sunroof glass if an obstacle prevents closing. As with other features, in the event of a battery disconnect, the system will need to be recalibrated. Until it is, the sunroof will only respond to the vent switch. To do this, with the ignition on, press and hold the vent switch until the sunroof moves to the full vent position. Continue holding the switch down for at least 1 second after the motor stops. Then, momentarily depress the close switch. Once the sunroof travels to the full close position, it is calibrated.
Standard on 300C models are power-heated memory mirrors. The driver's side exterior mirror and the interior rearview mirror also provide auto-dimming.
An Express Up feature is standard on front power windows on the 300C. The control modules in the doors will reverse the glass if an obstacle prevents closing. Following a battery disconnect, you'll need to recalibrate Express Up windows. To do that, you'll need to fully close the window, fully open it, then fully close it again. That does it for exterior and body features. Next, we're going inside the LX models for a look at interior and body electrical features. A power driver's seat is standard on LX models. Also available on some models are a power front passenger seat and heated front seats. The power heated seats are similar in operation to those on the 2004 Durango. The restraint system on LX models includes the occupant classification system. Last month's Mastertech brought you up to speed on the strain gauge type system used on LX models, so be sure to refer to it for additional information. In the area of driver airbag service, note that you can replace the trim cover and horn switch separately. You do not need to replace the entire airbag module. A tilt and telescoping steering column is standard on LX models. Both manual and power columns use a Z-link for fore and aft travel. The power tilt and telescoping column is standard on 300C models. Here's how it works. A lever on the steering column can be moved up and down or fore and aft to provide an input to the steering column control module, or SCCM. The control module operates electric motors to provide adjustment. The available power adjustable pedals have some features we need to look at. For one thing, these applications use an electronic throttle control pedal assembly that can be serviced separately from the adjustable pedals. The same ETC pedal assembly is used with non-adjustable pedals. In both cases, you'll need to disconnect the quick connect cables.
During service, you may need to position the pedals to facilitate realignment. To do that, you can use the marks alongside the worm gear that correspond to the full forward and full back positions.
When it comes to HVAC systems on LX models, you'll find either a manual temperature control single zone version or dual zone automatic temperature control. The automatic temperature control system uses both an infrared and a sun sensor as inputs. On both systems, the evaporator temperature sensor, a thermistor used to monitor the evaporator coil temperatures, has been relocated downstream of the evaporator. As a result, it's easier to access and service. On the other hand, the automatic temperature control system uses the CAN-B bus for communication, while the manual temperature control system does not. As a result, the way these systems request clutch cycling is different. Because it's on the bus, you can use the star scan to troubleshoot an ATC system. A manual system displays fault codes in the form of LED illumination. The procedure for retrieving codes is detailed in the service information. Earlier, we mentioned the memory system in relation to the mirrors. In fact, The memory system on LX models stores positions and settings in various modules, including those for the power seat, outside mirrors, adjustable pedals, power tilt and telescoping column, automatic temperature control, and radio. The display for the Electronic Vehicle Information Center on LX models is located in the cluster. Control over EVIC menus is provided by the switches on the steering wheel. The switches communicate with the steering column control module via a single bus wire. The SCCM then communicates over the CAN-B bus with the cabin compartment node in the cluster. The cabin compartment node, or CCN, is integrated with the instrument cluster. It serves many of the same functions as the body control module on LH models. There are a number of other body electrical features on LX models, such as satellite and navigation radios, but these work in a similar way to those you've seen on other vehicles. That's all we have time for this month on Mastertech. Be sure to join us next month when we'll discuss strategies for dealing with mill illumination and features of the Jeep Wrangler Unlimited.